Well, we're going to move on. We're going to go to our second topic of the podcast, and we're going to be talking some National Signing Day kind of recap. But before we talk about who went where, who had the best classes, Brandon, I got one simple question for you, and I got this question after watching PTI the Thursday after National Signing Day, and I know you're going to have fun with this question. Does it even matter? Does NSD, National Signing Day, even matter?
I'll tell you in 3 years. That's when you find out. Because the only time that you find out if you're a real winner or loser is the players get out there and compete. They don't do that, you didn't win. Just because you got the guy who's supposed to be the best. You know, Houston Texans, they got Jadeveon Clowney. They got him in every frickin' ailment that he ever had. They've got him right now. Look like a good signing. Nope. So that's what it comes down to. Who's the real winner and who's the real loser? Give it a while, because then you can tell them. Because after National Signing Day, all it is right now, smokescreen. That's all it is. You got the top recruit. I think. Maybe. Nah. You know, that's basically what it is. Because how can you say that, you know, all these teams, 1 through 5, they won National Signing Day. They may have won National Signing Day. But at the end of the day, does that translate to wins? Does that translate to any championships? That's what I think.
See, the way I look at it is, and this is, I kind of have a little bit of a pro spin on it. And by pro spin, I mean NFL spin to it, because, you know, I'm on this podcast. I'm also on the Onside Kick with Mark Weber. And I'm going to throw out some interesting facts for you. I've got a few of the recruiting classes in front of me, and I'm going to throw out some interesting names. In the year 2000, we had 2 recruits, according to 247sports.com, 2 recruits with a number 1 ranking. Adam Taliaferro had a pretty good year in the NFL right now, but really he's more of, he only got the start because of, you know, injury in Baltimore, the Ray Rice incident. Ray Rice isn't there. He was obviously the starter before getting kicked off the team. DJ Williams was the other one. You want to know who else was the second best recruit? A quarterback out of Louisiana. Don't even know who this guy is. Brock Berlin. Never heard of him. Number 2 recruit in 2001, Brody Croyle. What kind of a season? He went to Alabama. What kind of a season did he have in the NFL? I mean, you get the good ones. We're like number 4 that year. Reggie Wayne went to Washington.
He did okay.
What kind of a year did he have? Yeah, he had a pretty good year, or career, I should say, in the NFL. 2002. This is one where it's, okay, number 1 recruit got it right, Vince Young. That was a number 1 recruit where it's like, great. Number 2, Lorenzo Booker. It's like, okay, I know who Lorenzo is at least. But then you got one like the 6th overall recruit that went to Tennessee. Tennessee fans may be saying, Ricky, I remember who that was. Gerald Riggs Jr.? I don't know who that is.
I'm going to side with you. I don't know.
2000 and we're going to jump to 2004 because my 2003 did load up. Ernie Sims was the number 1 recruit in 03. It's like, okay, I know who that is. Andre Caldwell, number 7. Lamar Woodley was number 4. It's like, okay, there's some guys up here. 2004, another number 1. Number 1 and number 2, where it's like, okay, those guys are legit NFL stars. Number 1, I'll give you a hint. He's on my favorite team, went to Oklahoma. It's kind of the bell cow on my team.
Oh, Adrian Peterson. Number 2, I'll give you another hint. He plays for the Panthers right now, and he loves to drop footballs. Ted
Ginn Jr., number 2, went to Ohio State. Willie Williams was the 3rd top recruit. And then looking at some recent ones, I mean, last year, the number 1 recruit, Trent Thompson, went to Georgia. Didn't really hear much from Trent. The one that I heard huge things about was you had like Malik Jefferson go to Texas. He had a pretty good year. We had Rosen. He was the one we talked about each and every week because he started for UCLA. It's like, to me, it's hit or miss with these guys. And I mean, I look at, mainly because of this, I look at Gray, who chose to go to Michigan over Clemson. He chose to go to Michigan rather than play with Clemson, where it would basically be him and Lawrence, the number 2 recruit, sitting right there in the middle of the defensive line for the Tigers. And I'm looking and I'm going, okay, he might be able to make an impact day one, but how many times does a recruit come out and he makes an impact day one? I'm like, this is football. This isn't basketball. Basketball, I expect that. Football, I don't.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, I think that's the thing, though. And it kind of goes back to, I think it kind of goes back to what I said. And you had some perfect examples of that. You know, some of these guys, who? Mm-hmm. You know, some, you've got some good ones, but I think that really it's all about give it some time. You can't really make a decision right away because you may say, oh, today, taking a bad example here because they always win. Now, today, Alabama won. You know, they won National Signing Day. You know, someone could say that. But then, let's say they don't pan out. Alabama still winning National Signing Day?
The Heisman Trophy winner from this past year, 2013 class he was, guess what overall ranked recruit Derrick Henry was coming out of high school? I'll give you a hint. He's in the top 15. 13. Close. He was 12. The number 1, that was the Kemdichi year. So, I mean, I'm looking at the 2013 because that's most of these guys are the guys that we're looking at in mock drafts. Kemdichi 1, Jalen Smith 2, you're fighting Irish, Vernon Hargraves the 3rd, the best pure man-to-man corner in this draft. Mm-hmm. Laramie Tunsil could be the number 1 overall draft. However, you get guys like Reuben Foster. Went to Alabama. I haven't heard anything from him. Matthew Thomas. Kenny Bigelow. And, I mean, Derrick Henry's there. Christian Hackenberg. Laquan Treadwell. You've got Kendall Fuller. To me, it's... And I just see it's like, okay, the individual recruits, I don't really... Like, oh, cool. The number 1 recruit went to Michigan. Because the whole thing I sit with is, okay, what are you going to do on the field? To me, I pay more attention to the team rankings. And according to ESPN, had Florida State as the winner for National Signing Day. However, 24/7 Sports has your team, your defending national champions, at number 1 with Alabama. Here's the top 5 from 5 to 1. Michigan, Ohio State, LSU, Florida State, Alabama, according to 247sports.com.
Now, let me tell you something interesting. You have probably seen this. Others may not have. FanSided has Jim Harbaugh as a loser for National Signing Day because of the fact that
29 total recruits.
Well, I was just going to say they have him as a loser because of his dishonesty. Okay. So they say that a couple of recruits stepped forward saying that they hadn't been in much contact with any of the coaching staff. One, Rashad Weaver, said Harbaugh told him there was a 50-50 chance that he'd be signing with Michigan, mm-hmm. and he had been committed for 7 months. And then another one was with a 4-star offensive lineman who'd been committed, and that was in November of 2013. So Brady Hoke was still there. Then he was informed that his scholarship had just been pulled. There was no given reason. Wasn't told why there was the sudden move, anything like that, and it just goes away. I mean that kind of stuff maybe not so good. Doesn't reflect very positively on Jim Harbaugh.
Well, you say this stuff, and my first thought when you're reading this is, okay, that doesn't surprise me. The reason why it doesn't surprise me is look at why the Niners got rid of Jim Harbaugh. because he wasn't a player's guy. So, I mean, just because he goes to college, you expect him to be a player's guy. I mean, that's the kind of, you can say that's the kind of image that we were getting from the beginning of this college season. But no, with everything that I saw with him and the 49ers, do I like Jim Harbaugh? Yeah, I think he's one hell of a coach. But I don't expect him. I expect Jim Harbaugh to be in it for Jim Harbaugh. Shitty interview, too. I mean, go ahead and listen to that Cowherd interview we talked about during the Big Ten preview. That was our Big Ten preview podcast. I mean, he's a clunker of an interviewer, and I mean, he's not a clunker of a head coach, but
he's very good.
He's going to look out for Jim Harbaugh, and I'm going to take an example from Sean Anderson of the Fast Break podcast here. He said that he's still in college. He was talking to one of the athletes in his sports management class or something like that, and the player's like, yeah, you know what, I wish the coach would, like, I wish coach would be more, like, connected to us, like, ask us, hey, well, how's it going, be like buddy, and Sean goes, yeah, it doesn't surprise me, and they go, why? He goes, you're easier to cut, not just cut, you're easier to replace, you're easier to just get rid of because there's no connection to you. And to me, I wouldn't be surprised if that's how Jim Harbaugh rolls, because in the end, to Jim Harbaugh, his biggest thing, and I mean it's the biggest thing in any team, is winning games.
And he's going to do what's best for his program.
Well, which is his program.
And I was just going to say, and if that means possibly having to get rid of a player, he wants to be able to do it and not have any feelings.
Now, here's the big difference is I mentioned how the class rankings are a little different. 24/7 Sports had Michigan at number 6. ESPN had number 5. ESPN has them at number 6. The top 5 for ESPN from 5 up: Ohio State, Ole Miss, LSU, Alabama, Florida State. And I mean, the big thing you look at is who really won, which team really had the best class. And to me, it seems like we're in a little bit of disagreement between Alabama and Florida State. When I look at the different recruiting sites, Alabama has 3 5-star recruits, 14 4-stars, 7 3-stars. Florida State has 1 5-star, 17 4-stars, and 7 3-stars. 25 for FSU, 24 total for Alabama. To me, I look at the 5-stars and I go, give it to Bama. They got more 5-stars. They got more, because the way I see stars is, the way I look at stars is not, oh man, this guy's going to be a great pro guy. It's, these are the guys that have a better chance to help you out day one, depending on your team's need, your depth, who goes where. So Alabama's got more guys to me that can help them day one. However, Florida State has more guys right there in the middle of the pack with the 4 stars.
Yeah, good for them.
Brandon, you guys don't know, or if you're new to the podcast, you don't know, there's stuff like this, Brandon, really let it loose. Like, this stuff is like, why does it, like, it's the title of the video. Why does this even matter?
I wanted to say, let's just move on to the next topic, but I thought that would be too mean. So that's why I tried to show as much interest as I possibly could for Florida State. And, you know, seriously, golf clap off to them. But, yeah, no, I'm going to go with Alabama. And then again, what's new? And
before we move on,
don't tell me you're going to ask me another question about National Signing Day.
I am not going to ask you another question for National Signing Day.
Yeah, don't do that.
The one thing I will do is the early on 2017 rankings. Top 5 are Clemson, Baylor, Miami, Alabama, and OSU early on. That's from 5 to 1.